So Charlie and I went downtown, very far downtown, to Christopher Street, 154 to be exact. It's a brand new theater, or at least a newly refurbished theater with full handicap access and whatnot.
Right. And you meet such interesting people on Christopher Street, as Rosalind Russell could tell you.
Yes, that's the story. Anyway, this is 3 stories with music and lyrics by Michael John LaChiusa. So what you get are 3 one-act musicals. If you can handle 3 one-act musicals. We're having a little bit of a problem with that. But the first one is based directly on the film, the Kurosawa film RASHOMON, which is a story about truth and belief, and whose eyes in which you see a story depends on whose truth you believe. So, you know, you can each have a different perspective on a story. And in that story, there are 2 lovers who plan to murder each other. And but each of them tells a different story about why they're going to murder the other person. And that's intriguing. So the second story, which comes hard upon, is much longer and much more involved and much more modern. Charlie?
Well, this takes place in New York City, and it is a murder told from several perspectives. One from the accused murderer, one the victim's wife, and then from the victim himself, via a psychic. And whose story is right, whose truth is right? Well, see what I want to see. You know, you decide.
And it's interesting because in the first act, the wife is played by a very beautiful female puppet. And in the second act, the husband is played by both a gorgeous male puppet, and then the real person appears dressed exactly like the puppet, even down to the black and white shoes.
Right. Yes, there is puppetry involved in here, and I think my one complaint is that I would have loved to have seen more puppetry here.
Beautiful puppetry.
These are full-figured puppets, and I think rod and hand operated, kind of like a ventriloquist dummy, except no one is doing ventriloquism here. And it adds to the story, although not as much as I had hoped that it would.
Well, I would have loved to see more of it also. I haven't seen that style of puppetry since I saw Ariane Mnouchkin's Théâtre du Soleil in Paris, and it's a lovely thing. I would like to see more of it, very gentle.
Yeah. And then we get to the third story, a disillusioned priest who perpetrates a hoax in Central Park. He leaves a note on a bench. Jesus will be returning on such and such a date. And it balloons, and he's watching this and he can't believe it. And then the event happens, and there are a lot of disappointed people, but this priest ends up having his faith renewed.
I had a lovely time. I really enjoyed it. I like seeing the theater. Some of the actors, really, Marina Kondo, who plays the wife, and all the female characters, translated this from the Japanese. Kelvin Moon, who we've seen on Broadway, was the husband. Sam Simak was the thief. And a lovely young guy named Zachary Noah Pizer, who's a Hapa, a Hebrew Asian Pacific actor. I think that's wonderful.
That's something you don't see every day.
Not every day.
Even in New York.
He played both the janitor in the first scene, the janitor in the second act, and the priest in the third act. And it was all directed by Emilio Ramos. Lovely work. I enjoyed it very, very much.
And our 1 to 5 playbill countdown, 5 being amazing, 1 being not so much.
I would give it 4.5. I really had a surprising time. I didn't have an amazing time, but being surprised at this point is all I can expect from the theater, and I got that. So thank you.
I enjoyed it not quite as much as you did. I give it, I'd say 3 1/4, maybe 3 1/2.
A respectful.
Yes, a respectful.